Welcome back to the Healthy Business Podcast. I'm Ty King for the American Business Engine, and with me,
Jessica Tolliver, Cam Collaborative.
Jessica, how are you?
I am good. Good. It's Friday. Surprise! I didn't know that this morning.
So I know we talked before about we've talked before about the yellow glasses, the light blocking, and all that stuff. And so, is there a reason why you have them? Like you're not looking at a screen.
No, but the fluorescents.
Fluorescents.
Yes, they're very harsh.
That's awesome.
They're actually worse than the screens. They really wreak havoc.
Yeah, they can be really bad about giving people headaches too. Yeah, I can attest to that. Anyways, how's the week been? You didn't know it was Friday. Happy Friday! You made it.
It's been a crazy week. I have been putting in insane hours. We have our school's launching. Our school's launched, but we're actually starting classes on Monday. So all the last minute things, making sure that the paperwork's ready, making sure their checklists are ready, and we're going to be ready to accept students. And it's our first module, so I think I told you this morning, I'm having a little imposter syndrome. Like, I've been teaching for a long time, been doing this for a long time, and I'm confident. I've written a lot of classes, I've done all this, but this is a school, so it's a new frontier for me.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a time where you don't have that, like in the future, whenever you're starting something new and like, you just don't have that moment of imposter syndrome.
I've actually listened to other people, and not so much specifically this, but speakers mostly, that talk about how if it ever goes away, then that's a problem.
Yeah, like then you have an ego problem, probably.
Yes. If you just think that you're the gift to the masses, then maybe you should be doing some introspection, because you need to have a little bit of humble outlook on what you're doing. And sure, you can be ready and prepared, and the brain knows all the things, but there's that little id isn't asking you to, hey, just double check your, cross your T's and dot your I's.
Yeah.
Then maybe you won't.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's been a crazy one for me too, I guess. Just lots of the same old, just volunteering and trying to catch up with jobs, and oh man, just cramming everything in. So last Friday, we recorded here, and then I had an entire day of meetings and stuff. But then I had volunteered for this beer festival thing that they asked me to volunteer. I assumed, right, that this was going to be an event where it was like networking type of thing. Oh no, it was not. It was not. I showed up, and there were like 75 different vendors from just all over, and there were different breweries. They were just giving samples of different ones, and so we were having to pour at the table. And I knew I was gonna be basically a bartender for people, but crack it open here. So what it was is a huge crowd, enormous crowd. There was I can't even tell you how many people were there. Way more than any event I've ever been to, and so, but they were lined up around the block. So I show up, and I can't find parking anywhere, because at the same time they had a concert going on at Simmons Bank, and so they were charging $20 per parking anywhere near that venue. So I just go to some apartment complex or something, and just park there and go. Came back, the line was wrapped around the block, and I'm like, I'm a volunteer, and so I walked up, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is the line for everybody." I was like, "Yeah, but I need to go in now."
I'm working.
Yeah. And anyways, eventually I found somebody, and they got me in. And so, but there was the huge tents that were covering the whole entire plaza.
When was this?
It was Friday at 5:30 is when it started.
Oh my God.
And so Sarah Lynn, Dustin was there. But I saw maybe 5 people I knew out of this huge crowd of people. So my usual business connections, or the network that I'm a part of, and I usually see them. I saw Callie there, but it was I don't know, it was just a huge sea of strangers, and I assumed since they asked me, because usually when I get asked to volunteer, it's that they've asked a lot of other business owners or networkers and everything to come in and fill these spots. So I was sitting at the table, and I had 2 other people that were working with me at my table, and I can be friendly with anybody, just talk to anyone. But I asked one guy, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm a construction worker." So, "Oh, okay, cool." And I asked the other guy, he did something, so I can't remember what he did.
So it was just they needed warm bodies.
Warm bodies. It was basically that, and I was like, oh no, I should not have done this. And so, but yeah, I had fun though. I was just basically carny calling, you know what I mean? Because we had all IPAs. A lot of people aren't fans of IPAs, and so it's just like me trying to get them sold. Well, come over here, you haven't tried this.
Yeah. I would have been terrible at that because I don't like beer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're like, which one do you like? I don't.
Well, that's pretty about all they had there. Like the hard seltzers and stuff like that.
Now, I do like the hard seltzers, and I just found out that Mockingbird has kombucha. I can get down with some kombucha.
Like, I thought they served a lot of drinks at the networking events. No. This place was drowning in beer.
That's funny.
And I was it was a very different experience.
Cool.
But yeah, so I was like, okay, I know what to expect now.
So, pro tip here, before you say yes, know what you're getting into.
Yes, do your research. So yeah, there was that. We'll see. What is it? On Saturday, I'll be volunteering. Yes, that's tomorrow. God.
Yeah.
Today is still Friday. Yes. So tomorrow.
Apparently.
Yes.
I learned that in the elevator this morning.
So Saturday, I'm volunteering for a different organization that helps cerebral palsy children, and so it's like a putt-putt / bar crawl, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's like a putt-putt course at each bar that these people are going to have to.
That's gonna.
By the time you get to the end, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of missed.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm basically just checking people in and passing T-shirts out and stuff. But it's a good opportunity for me to, because the people that are signing up for this one are mostly going to be, business associated people and stuff. So it's a good chance for me to be like, hey, by the way.
Hey, look at my hat.
Yeah, look at my hat, look at my name badge. You know what I mean? Here's a card. If you need a website, if you want to talk about your marketing, let's do that. Anyways, besides that, that's what's been going on.
Yeah,
Craziness.
I normally put in about, I don't know, 10 hours a day max, just because I have a real physical job.
Yeah. And
I've been 15 hours every day this week. So I may not remember what we talk about.
Okay. Well, it's being recorded though, so we don't have to worry about that.
We have to go watch it again. Like, hey, what are you doing on Friday? I have a recording.
That was me. I didn't realize that was there.
That's funny. So what's our topic today?
So topic today, I got one today.
Okay.
So, unless you just had something dire on your heart that you had to talk about, you didn't realize it was.
Nah.
Okay.
I have some ideas, but they haven't been fully fleshed out yet.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about conducting yourself outside of office hours, so like when you're off the clock, quote unquote.
That is definitely a quote unquote.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I know like we're never off the clock, but I mean we have to like make ourselves shut down. You know what I mean? We're like, okay, hey, I stopped working at 4 o'clock today, so like these people that are emailing me and calling me and stuff, like you guys can just contact me during regular working hours.
So with my industry, because I can help so many different people. Every person I meet is a potential client.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm always selling, but I always have to make myself that person who wouldn't be offensive.
Yeah. Which I have an issue with sometimes. Like, I can be strongly opinionated on some things, you know what I mean? Especially if I feel like everybody's having the wool pulled over their eyes.
Yeah.
And somebody's benefiting off of that. Oh man, I want to put them on blast.
If that's part of your image, that's perfectly fine. You just have to make sure that you're willing to own that as a business.
Right. Exactly.
And again, that's fine. You just it just has to be you need to make sure that you're doing it intentionally. Like, don't go out and have a few too many IPAs and then start talking about things that you really wouldn't do if you were in a different situation.
Oh, yeah. Great point. So that's what started this.
Okay.
So my friend yesterday works for a nonprofit and was like, just came under the realization of like that some church, because we watched this, there's a documentary out there about Hillsong Church. You ever heard of them?
I might go with the name, so if you give me the story, maybe.
So they started in Australia. They spread out worldwide, and like they were based on music first, but they became a ministry, and then they changed the whole. Anyways, so like if you're into the whole the like contemporary Christian music, that type of thing, or the contemporary Christian churches, the millennial churches, I like to call them. So like most of them based their music and stuff off of Hillsong. Like I was a praise and worship leader for 7 years, right? And we had every single one of their songbooks. and like I call myself a recovering Christian, so I'm like I'm not a religious person at all anymore. But like I did see how what some churches do is they will so like Hillsong was busted for this, and that's why they have the documentary out, using their church as a business model, which they basically are.
Right.
So the continuously, like they would say a big prayer that would get you hyped up and be like, I see a broken people that need hope, and they don't care how much they have to give for that salvation. You know what I mean? And like it's like they're making huge donations to this, and so of course the main head pastors and all that stuff are they're mega millionaires and flying jets and all kinds of other stuff. It's crazy. And anyways, my friend was like,
the Bakers all over again.
Yeah, my friend was like, okay, well, I was in an abusive relationship, and like that's how the church got me into, and like they just used my story, and then after that, and I was like, okay, yeah, got you. I was like, and I calculated, okay, so in Arkansas alone, there's over 5,000 registered churches, and each one of those congregations has an average of about 200 people. So I mean, you're looking at over 1 million different bodies that have a similar story to yours. Some of them are very locked into this. Some of them have come out of this, and so I was like, it's very varying, and of course it depends on the church and all that stuff. And anyways, she wanted to put them on, on blast, on, like call them out, and like specifically the ones that I was like, nope, bad idea, because like, here's why. Had a few too many IPAs. No, it was like, the reason, I was like, you work for a nonprofit and you believe in this nonprofit, and that nonprofit, most nonprofits are funded through churches at some level. You know what I mean? Whether they're donating food or clothes or their services or an open area, whatever it is. So you don't want to burn those bridges. Yeah, exactly. And so like same for me, if I see a business that's obviously crooked, corrupt, you know what I mean? Because there are lots of corrupt businesses out there. You know what I mean? How you run your business is very indicative of like the type of person you are. So if you're a bad person, you can still open a business legally in Arkansas, and you can still run that business, and it can be successful, and it can be at the not the best interest of the customers or clients.
Sure.
Yeah. And so if I see that, I can't just call that out. It doesn't do a lot of good, because who am I to even say that when you know what I mean? Because money is power, and it also, like, I guess as humans, like we see when somebody has a lot of money and power, like they're looked up to a lot of people, then that makes you want to naturally gravitate. Not you. You're looking at me like, not me. I'm different.
No.
But like, if you're well aware of like how that works, then yeah, you can avoid it. But like for the most people, they're like, okay.
You see something that you like, and you want to be like that, so you tend to gravitate towards that, to learn, to assimilate, to osmosis.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So, but if I call that business out, right, as a marketing person, my primary business is promoting. If I'm doing the exact opposite of that, and if I'm putting somebody out there and speaking negatively about them, that is going to cause future clients or even current clients to be like, oh no, if he does this to this business, what's to stop him from doing it about my business or something like that,
That's one of the things I actually teach my students is not to gossip, and it's not because gossiping is bad. Let's just on the surface, but let's take it a little bit deeper. If I'm talking to you and I'm like, hey, so and so, they got a divorce and they cheated on their spouse and blah blah blah. And you're hearing that, and sure, you're engaged because it's an engaging conversation, but at the end of the day, you'll be like, man, is she telling my secrets? Even if you only did it with that one person, the one person is going to be thinking, what are they talking about me? And the word of mouth is the most important marketing tool that you have.
Yeah.
And even if you're like, even like the big companies, that word of mouth makes a difference.
Right.
So that's important to make sure that you are always putting forth that positive vibe for your business, or you're going to lose a lot of business.
Yeah, for sure.
And then exponentially and unmeasurable.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, I guess, like expressing, I mean, like today's day and age, right? So like we are about finding who we are, I guess you'd say, and like putting a name on that, and then wearing that probably like a badge. Okay. So like yesterday was National Trans Visibility Day, and so if saw a lot of my friends in my feed and everything. So putting out there how they identify as, their pronouns are, like my friend yesterday said, she identifies as a woman, but her pronouns are he, she, or they. And so like a lot of, so like I was thinking like in business, you have to kind of like, it doesn't matter how young or old your business is, you are going to be dealing with somebody of a certain age at any point, whether they are the landlords of your office space, or they are clients, or they are somebody that you have to go through a network connection in order to get to the clients that you want. So you're going to have to deal with an older generation, which it's very, 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 very hard for them to understand what's going on right now with that, with identifying with a different gender than what you were born with on your certificate, and like that's so putting that out there, which I mean it's a great thing, it's a brave thing, but at the same time it's like measuring how far should I push this message, you know what I mean? It's not that you should be ashamed of anything,
right,
but like should I be aggressively constantly putting these things in someone's face that are not going to understand?
So, I mean, 100%, because I have clients that are far left. And I have clients that are far right. And I'm not far anywhere.
Yeah.
And when I'm in one-on-one with that client who's far to either direction, and they're talking very dogmatically about what they believe, it's not going to go well for me if I disagree with them.
Yeah.
And I also have a very strong moral code that says I can't lie.
Right.
So I have to navigate allowing them to have their opinion, and then allowing them to think I have whatever opinion they want me to have.
Right.
So, and not lying about it. So people can think wrong things. They can think I agree with them 100%. And I mean, yeah, sure, but and that's fine because I didn't do the personal lying.
Yeah.
And so I stayed true to myself. But at the same time, the conversation went well because I allowed them to have those opinions. And that's not always easy to do. It was not easy as I was younger, and it took me a while to develop that ability to be able to say, okay, they're allowed to have their opinion, and just because they have it, and I don't argue with them, doesn't mean I agree.
Right, exactly. So like in the age where everybody has everybody has their own opinions. Everybody has always had their own opinions throughout history.
Well,
okay?
it's just socially
but now we have
acceptable
a platform.
Yeah.
It's like we need to vomit every opinion we have in our mouth and in our minds online for the world to see, because how else will they know how we feel about things? And it's like, we don't need to know everything you feel about. But anyways, so like you're saying, politicized, and plus, I mean, so political division itself has created a completely different society in the past few years in America.
Oh my God, yes.
Like I remember like my parents talking about Republicans and Democrats back in the 90s, back when like Bill Clinton was in office, or he was running for his second term, and like they were talking about the differences between the two, and I was like, okay, I was like, it's really not that much difference. So one side does this and then does this. But like people weren't going to war over it, you know what I mean? They weren't ready to strangle it and go exact violence.
Fighting mad now.
Exactly.
It used to be like, okay, one side would think the other side was just dumb.
Right.
Now we think one side thinks the other side should die.
And so with both sides there, so like both the extreme sides on either one, like you said, far either way. So one has become, so like the Democrats, right? So we're called the liberals, and they are very, I don't know, I guess there's like it's so strange. There's a set of opinions that you have to have if you were far left. And it has to be, you've got to be, pro-LGBTQ, you've got to be, the Black Lives Matter movement, you have to be in all these different things, right? So, which at the core, like a lot of these things are great. People shouldn't have to hide who they are. They shouldn't have to endure any kind of social injustice because of their skin color, or because of where they're from, or because of what they believe in, or who they love. And so, like, at the core, but it turns into an extreme. It gets extreme. And so, like, there's that, and then it's like, and if you don't share any of those beliefs that as strongly as an extremist over here, then you're not really considered part of the group anymore. You're more in the middle of the road, or they'll try to out to the other side, which is Republicans, and so Republicans have a reputation of being like, well, America was built. I don't know. It was built a certain way, and like they were like, we want to keep it that way, and let's. I mean, even though like some of the policies do repress, you know what I mean, people of color. It does repress, you know, a lot of the LGBTQ because they're pro-life, you know what I mean. So it strikes down a lot of those, you know, clinics and that type of stuff. So, anyways, you've got to be one or the other is the worldview of the country right now for the most part.
It's important to remember that it wasn't always this way.
Exactly.
And it won't always be this way.
It hasn't even been that way until the few years, you know.
And the pendulum swings. So whatever opinions, and especially in this day and age where everything's recorded, whatever opinions that you decide to put out there now are going to stick with you and your business forever, basically. Right. And so if you want to have a business that's around for 20, 50 years, then, I mean, look at some of these celebrities who have been called out on things they said or did 20, 30 years ago, and they are getting erased because of it or canceled.
A tweet they sent out, you know, in 10 years ago, you know what I mean? And it's like, that person has grown since then. You don't know what's going on in their life.
Well, it may have been accurate-ish at the time based on the knowledge that they had. And then as we, as a society, have learned more and become more inclusive and have evolved, then opinions change. Yeah. And people don't always let that go.
We were talking, you know, talking to my family the other day because my wife had never heard of Burt Reynolds, right? So I said, who is Burt Reynolds? And like, she saw a meme where he had his little shorty shorts on, and it said, just so you know, this is the appropriate length of shorts for men. And she was like, who is that? Why does he have a mustache? And so we had to go on this whole thing.
The mustache.
Anyways, and then we started talking about like Smokey and the Bandit and like some of the movies he was in, and of course the oh God, what's the
Gambler.
The one with the cars.
I know, yeah.
God, you know what I'm talking about? The General Lee and all that stuff, and the Daisy Dukes and all that stuff.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard, thank you. God, I never watched that show in my life, but yeah, I've heard a lot about it. But like, we were talking about like some of the themes and stuff, and like we just read the synopsis, and I was like, you don't ever have to watch any of these just to know what it is. And I was like, let's just read the Wikipedia. And so we were doing that. I was like, man, that would not fly today. If you created a lot of these things, like a lot of these themes, like that would not fly. And like that turn, like you said, that pendulum, that change happened like less than 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Of course, Me Too movement came out, and like it changed a lot of things, and like how we treated women, and like we're still working on how to, you know, get equal pay. So there's a lot of things across the board. Going back to the point. So the point is, like right now, we are so politicized on both of those sides, and so the majority of human beings in the U.S., if you're not of their political persuasion, or if you don't believe what they're supposed to believe in their party, like you could have a fight on your hands. Like it either won't use your service or they will. I mean, I have seen on LinkedIn, which is supposed to be the professional platform where people encourage each other, that network together, where it was just straight Trump should have been president, blah, 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 and stuff about, you know, Biden gas prices and talking about, you know, the Ukraine and, like, Russian relations and all this stuff. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with what we're doing as professionals, right? So you're bringing your personal opinions into this. And if anybody disagrees with you, like I've seen, like in the comments, because I'll just go in there just to see. I was like, oh, God.
Right.
I was looking through here. And like they will go at it with each other. But on LinkedIn, you've got your name, right under that, you got your title and who you work for. You are representing that company and that name and that brand. Are you the argumentative type that staunchly, you know, goes against somebody just because of their own political beliefs? And are you going to be the one that just blasts propaganda, or are you going to be the one? Yeah, so it's how you conduct yourself is very important, reflective of how your company and how you get your clients.
And you don't have to change your opinion, and that's important.
No, you don't.
But you have to consider how you're going to live with that opinion as a business owner. And you don't have to be friends with all your clients, and you don't have to agree with all your clients.
Yes.
And if they my thing is, you know, if they need my services and they have the money to pay for it, unless they're breaking laws, unless they're out there, you know, killing children or something like that, I'm okay with them thinking what they want to think.
So I'm careful in, we'll say, So it goes back to like what your mom should have taught you, right? Which is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And so let's do that, and because you're probably not going to change that person's mind by coming at them with a baseball bat and a crowbar. You know what I mean? Pitchfork, and your torch in your hand. That's not going to change somebody's mind. They're not going to change their opinion because out of fear or because they're getting attacked online. So it makes it look so bad on you, and it alienates them, and then like you'll never have that connection, and you'll never grow your business or even your relationships.
And some people think the anonymity of being online makes them safe.
Right.
And it doesn't. Try Googling
your
yourself.
name. Yeah, there is no such thing as anonymity online.
Yes.
I don't care how much you try to hide that, bury that. You can still look up someone's IP address. I mean, it's not hard to find somebody online unless you were just part of Anonymous, the group that.
But even so, I mean, there is still going to be some record of you and your opinion somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And that's what they dig up. The old tweets then get you for it. And so, yeah. So look, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. That's fine. If somebody has a differing opinion, that's great. That's what makes the world interesting is when people have different opinions. And so, but when we turn those opinions into like reasons why we should go to war with each other, that's not fun anymore. That's not interesting. That's just barbaric. You know what I mean? So we're going back to caveman days. So like conducting yourself, I think I'm very careful in like the type of clients that I take on, because if what they do is reflective of my work too. And so like I want to have clients that are putting out good values. I definitely want the ones that are like giving back to society, that are helping out and actually volunteering or giving to several different charities so that they can do the work. Either way, however you want to go about it. But so like last December I had a rapper that reached out to me and then wanted me to do some marketing for him, and so like I gave him a higher price than I was going to give anybody, because I was like, I really don't want to do this. And then I started like watching his music videos and stuff and what he was doing, and I was like, okay, it's just thongs and cash and it was the typical what you think of as like the like the gangster rap. Yeah, it's a stereotype. And I was like, does it represent me? Does it represent my...
Well, I mean, and that's the fine line. You want to make sure that you're attracting clients that are going to, that you're happy to boast about. You're like, okay, I have this, especially in your industry, you're like, I have this client, I want to market them, I want people to go utilize their services, I want people to know about them, and that's a representation of you. So if you're not taking clients that you at least can somewhat align with, like they can have different political opinions, they can have, but if they have that same, don't say something nice, don't say, if you don't have something nice, don't say at all, then that's alignment with what you are. So that's a good point, to your point, that not only connect yourself, but connect your business in that way. If you take on clients that are constantly out, actually this is in one of my classes, that are out there and very outspoken and into things that are just completely opposite of what you find morally right, then that also represents you, because they're going to go say, I have this strong opinion and I'm fighting mad about it, and I also use this person over here. So that's a referral that you don't want. So it goes both ways. Yeah,
for sure. And I would say, find your own values and establish those. It's crazy how many companies don't really have an established book of values. I mean, that are like part of their company. In your employee handbooks, in your mission statement.
You talk to any business guru, then one of the first things they'll tell you to do is dive into that, spend some time, meditate on it, do what you need to do. Mission statement.
Make it a sentence or two.
That is your. That is your. What is it? It's your goalpost for being on the right track. Like whenever you're not sure if you're doing the right thing, go look at your mission statement. Make sure that whatever decision you're making, is it in line with that? If the answer is yes, then move forward. If the answer is no, well, then maybe rethink what you're doing. Yeah, for sure. And making sure, so like your clients and customers that are, like especially for me, being marketing, so I'm promoting, right? I'm promoting your business, and that's what I'm doing. So if somebody asked me, even if they were like a great client, you know what I mean? But then all of a sudden they want to make a post about, pro Trump or Biden or some other candidate or something like that. I'm not going to do that, because I'm not going to be part of your political affiliations, and I'm not going to alienate a whole body of people, right? So that's what you're doing. Like you're promoting one thing, but you're alienating a whole group of other people, and so there's a fine line. So, like I said, it's fine to have your own, like I said, go back to the mission statement.
doesn't match up with what you're trying to do. Was this part of your business plan? Was it to politically motivate people to vote a certain way? No, probably not.
Unless it is.
Unless it is, yeah. Right, exactly. So I know, some people have opened, like consulting businesses strictly for like, I only deal with Democratic candidates, or I only deal with Republican candidates, or I only deal with independents. And so that's their whole business model, which is that's their brand.
Right.
But like I read some of the things that they post, and I'm like, that's offensive. But I guess if that's the way people are hiring you for, be offensive.
Right.
And so
being offensive isn't wrong as long as you're willing to own it. I mean, if that's your thing, if I'm going to say I am a staunch whatever, I'm of the Green Party, and I don't know what that they stand for, but I was just trying to pick one that wasn't the two big ones, and I am this. And if that's your thing, then go for it. But make sure, back to your mission statement, make sure that's your goal. Make sure you stay in your lane. Make sure you're on the path.
For sure. You reminded me of so there's a famous streamer, he like streams games and all this stuff. God, I wish I could remember his name, because I don't watch him, but like everybody knows who he is, and like anybody listening is probably like screaming it at me. But it's he wears like this crazy like mustache. I don't know how old this guy is, but anyways, he has a crazy fake mustache and like sunglasses and stuff, and his whole brand is like he is just talking all kinds of shade throughout the whole thing, like yelling at the camera while he's playing these games and doing all kinds of stuff. And people love it. They like watching him do this and stuff. But it's a character, you know what I mean? So another very recent and very viral moment that happens with like be a representative of your brand. So with celebrities, I think of like some people that own like production companies, right? The Rock, of course, owns $7 Productions, and that's his whole thing. It's like, well, I started off with $7. We invested and we did this, and we worked to where we are today. And like consistently, if you're watching a movie with The Rock and it's his production company, you know what to expect. It's probably a good time, it's probably fun, adventure, that type of stuff, but it's not going to like...
You're not going to get the piano.
You're not going to get the piano, and you're not going to get anything that's like terribly offensive or like, it's like a feel-good type of, action movie. Ryan Reynolds owns his own production, Maximum Effort Productions. And so like he owns so many different things. He owns... Mint Mobile, which is the mobile phone company out of California, and that are trying to go nationwide. But like he's always producing their commercials and stuff. But you know what to get with Ryan Reynolds. He's basically himself in every role he's in, right? So but you know to get a lot of comedy and snarky sarcasm, that type of stuff. Then I don't know if you've even heard about this, because you don't like get on the social media, but Will Smith last Sunday, right?
That entered my feed. Yes.
Okay, it entered your feed. I was like, because it was everywhere Monday morning when I scrolled through. I was scrolling on Sunday night, was going through Twitter, and I was like, oh, like as soon as it happened, I was like, well, this just happened, and then I was like showing Tara, and she was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I actually use it as a talking point with clients, like, what is your opinion?
Yeah.
What do you think? And
so everybody, so that was another really divisive thing where people, I don't know, I guess right now we're just like latching ourselves onto one thing and having a very, very strong opinion about it and willing to fight over it, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if you want to go back into sociology, that's something we can have an opinion on, that we can be total polar opposites, and we can argue about it, but neither one of us wants the other dead.
Right, exactly.
But when you get back to the circle about, the politics is a kind of a different feel right now. People are like war angry over politics, but we can talk about this controversial subject and have a heated debate and it'd be okay. So topics like that are going to hit the media, are going to be something big because people can talk about them.
For sure. And so like they were talking about, of course, Jada, Will, Chris, and like people are taking all sorts of different stances on this. He was right for doing this. He was wrong. Chris should have never talked about his wife. He was wrong. Well, they've got a history together of joking around, so like he was actually just on brand and doing. And Will Smith was just having a bad time because they have an open relationship, yada yada yada. And like Jada has her own podcast where she's embarrassed Will online with some things that she said about him, and it's like, okay, well, we don't really know what's going on in any of these people's lives, period.
Right.
But as far as like, if we're looking at this as like Will Smith, it's like, okay, you are the owner of your brand. Like most of his movies, we know what we're getting, because Will Smith is. I know he won Best Actor, but like I can't ever see him as anything other than Will Smith, because like he's same voice, same. It's like carries himself the same. And it's like he doesn't really change character very much in anything he's in.
Most of the big guys don't. So your Will Smiths, your Tom Cruises, they
exactly.
kind of play the same character. Rarities are like your Val Kilmers.
Yeah.
Like every movie he's in, he looks different, he sounds different, he acts different. He's like one of those real chameleon type characters. But it's rare in Hollywood. You mostly get, you know what you're getting.
Exactly. So with that, like consistently after you've got so many different blockbuster movies and you've been doing the same type of character for so long, you've got a fan base. You've got, and the people that are watching your movies and making them a blockbuster, they're the ones that, they like what you're doing. They have a loyalty to you, and on whatever level. And you have a responsibility to them, and for that brand. And so if your brand has been, well, you've always, okay, so he started off with, as a rapper, talking about how he didn't need to cuss and rap in order to do this, or talk about violence or drugs or any of that stuff, okay? And then move on to TV shows and movies where, like, he, in interviews, he was staunchly against, violence, saying violence is never the answer. In this one moment, on live TV across the world, just in a moment's flash, you know what I mean? Whatever he was going through in his life, that pushed him to that single decision of, I'm going to walk up this stage and then I'm going to hit this man.
Well, and before we offend our audience, I mean that 100% everything you said.
Yeah.
Whether it was in the moment or staged, because he still had to make the decision.
That's true.
Whether it was if he made the decision, if it was staged, he still had to make the decision to still get up on the stage and do that.
Exactly.
So either way.
So exactly. So either way, you made an action which represents you now. It's part of who you are. It's like, oh, sorry, and I've heard this excuse a lot of times. Hey, I just wasn't myself. And it's like, no, that was still you that did that. So that exists in you somewhere.
Yes.
And you didn't control it. And
exactly.
We've all got our demons, and so we all just sort of live above them. We never get rid of them. We always just live above them. We know how to.
Hopefully, we live above them.
Oh yeah. Well, sorry. Yes. I have learned to live above them. Yes.
Most of the time, I have a few IPAs now.
I was just selling them. Anyways, going up there and doing that single action of making violence after you've been so long against violence, like that's a direct, it's a contradiction of your entire brand, which that caused a lot of the talk that we've had all freaking week online. And so same thing for a business owner. If you are all about if you're like kindness matters, or if you're all about hey, if you feed one person, then the world will never go hungry. If everybody should help one person. If that's your brand, you know what I mean, of being a social company. Like I've heard lots of coffee shops say that, where they're community based and they want to grow a stronger community. Yada. I know that a lot of that is branding and advertising and marketing and all that stuff, just to try to get people to come in. But let's say that you walk right past somebody that was in need, you know what I mean, like a homeless person on the sidewalk, or somebody that was obviously distraught or crying or whatever it is, and somebody sees you and like you just look at them and like walk by, then that's still that's reflective of like, okay, well, you're not really living. Even that one little
decision not to make an action can be an action.
Exactly.
I would just tell my kids, it's like indecision is still a decision.
There you go. Yeah. So your inaction is it can reflect negatively on you too. So like being well aware, not that you have to be a character, but like if you're going to go ahead and say that these are the things that you live by, then live by them.
Right.
And I know it's so stupid that we have to get down to this, like it's so simple. It's simple. So if you say one thing about yourself, do it.
Yeah.
If you don't say about it, you don't have to. You're not held down to that.
Right.
So
sure.
That's what it comes down to, right? It's insane. And so I know, like I always go on about Mark Zuckerberg's books, but anyways, I learned in that book E-Myth, when I was becoming an entrepreneur, and I was sort of working on my business plan as I was working on myself, because I knew I had things in me that I needed to work on as a person. So I was like, both of these are the same, because I noticed like your brand, which he described it as 3 different things. It's what you say, it's what you do, and it's what people say about you when you leave the room. So your reputation. So, but the last part is heavily reliant on the first 2.
Yes.
If you say that you're one thing, and then you show that you're not.
If you're like, I care about the environment, and then you drive off at a, Humvee.
Yeah.
Like maybe you're getting the wrong
Spitting
message.
exhaust everywhere, and
Yes.
smoking cigarettes and throwing them out your window and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So being reflected. So people are going to see that, and they're going to talk about you, and the word's going to get out, and then you're going to have a reputation for yourself, and probably not get as much business as you would have if you stayed on brand. So. The same thing with like the people that say, everybody says we have the car lots, especially we have the lowest prices, you're pre-approved, da, 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 da. And then you go in there and find out it's a different story. That's why car salesmen have a pretty bad name for themselves. Well, most of them have a bad name for themselves because of that, or like attorneys especially.
I mean, the stereotype was created for a reason. Now,
Exactly.
It may not be accurate today.
Thank you.
But
Yes.
they live forever.
Yeah.
I mean, not forever. They live a long time. It takes
Yeah.
a long time, to your point, to
Right.
overcome an opinion, a stereotype, falling into a certain public view.
For sure. Well, and the way somebody explained it to me one time was that there's a road sign that says don't drive over the median on the interstate, because somebody tried to drive over the median to the interstate.
Yes. Who was the person who did toast in the bathtub?
Toast in a bathtub.
Toaster says don't use in the bathtub, or don't. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
who did that?
Yeah.
Who thought like I can't wait to make toast until my bath is done?
Yeah.
I need to do it now. So yeah.
Yeah. Do not use the toaster on the side of your bathtub. That's a terrible idea. Yeah. Just FYI. That's great. So yeah. So to get down to to what we were talking about. So like we are living the way that you say that you're living, and also realize that whatever your brand is, whether it's the one that you created yourself in your mission statement, or if it's the reputation that you have that has been getting you all your clients and customers and getting your network, and like your people are looking up to you, making sure that aligns with your actions.
Yeah, and I
what
think
you do.
that it goes way even more than just don't feel like you're not being able to be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you're having to make compromises, or the always on thing.
Yeah.
Don't feel like that's a burden, because if you're being true to yourself in your business, it won't be a burden.
Yeah, for sure. And I think of like, man, I hate that these things exist. You know what I mean? But like at the same, I don't know. It works for them, and I guess it's just something I have to be accepting of like this is the world we live in. So the My Pillow guy, you ever heard of him? My Pillow. So did you hear what happened to him? Or anything? Okay, so during the whole last presidential campaign, he was very pro-Republican and all this stuff, and so he said a lot of bad, toxic stuff about women and all kinds of things, and people associated that with his party and all that. Anyways, crazy. So his company went almost bankrupt because of his actions, and then he pivoted and leaned into that, the whole being outright pro-life, anti-gay, just all the different things that people usually associate with Republican. So he leaned into it, and now like that's what his whole brand is. Like if you support true patriotism, you'll buy a pillow from me because and like he does that, and like my friend ordered one of those. She had no idea of any of this stuff that was going on. She just heard that might be a good pillow for her neck. And so she ordered it, and when she got it, like she got this huge flyer that was all about what a real patriot is and all these different things. And she was like, "What is this? I don't even know." So I had to explain it to her. She's like, "I just wanted a pillow."
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and again, if that's the direction they wanted to go, that's his brand.
Yeah.
And some of the things that you may also have to counter your industry, and this is something that I face a lot, being a massage therapist, is we have a reputation. Is not founded in anything really like it today as it was years ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was looking to rent commercial space. I was moving properties, and I had a commercial realtor not want to rent me space because I was the wrong kind of business for the building. And like, what part of this says that? And so I have to be very careful to even more so honor my brand, so that I can overcome that reputation that I didn't even create.
That's a good point, and like, especially with people that they can't control a lot of things. Like you may be part of the LGBTQ community, you may be black or brown skinned, or you might have what do they call it when you come over from another country. I lost the word. Immigrant. Thank you. Thank you. I was like, my brain got stuck. So you may be an immigrant and then not speak, with the same accent that somebody has here. And so I had conversations. I built a website for this law firm in Chicago that deals with immigrant law. And she was an immigrant herself. And so she was from a part of Africa to where like you can tell in her voice. So I would have to ask her to repeat a couple of things for me, but like besides that, I could understand her completely. But like she had a really great like African accent, you know what I mean? Like trying to speak English. It was really cool because I can't even imitate that. But yeah, for those things that like you can't control about yourself, they are part of who you are. You should never hide that. And then you, like I said, maybe your landlord of your building. It may be somebody that you have to get through in order to get to somewhere you want to get. It may be somebody at the Chamber of Commerce. It may be somebody in your B&I group. It may be somebody that is they found you online and now they're considering buying your services, but they didn't know who the owner was.
And they Google you because they will.
But they've got a problem with those. Like
yes.
with whatever type of person you are, like they've got a problem with that. And so. Conducting yourself still, because I know you probably want to say a few words, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You definitely want to tell you about yourself. But like being able to.
Oh, I would love to sit here and just tell everybody the name of the company and the name of the guy and start blasting.
Sure.
Yeah, but I can't.
But there's better ways to fight against that.
Yes.
And I'm not just saying be a yes man and don't be like, okay, well, you're right, thank you.
Oh yeah, no, I just
no.
grit my teeth and go away. And now I'm in a better building and I'm looking down on that building, and every time I look out the window, I'm like, yeah, I dodged a bullet with that building. Here I am.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because there are other opportunities. It's not like this is the world's opinion. This is just one person's opinion, right? So where you meet one person that is against you, you have a million other allies. So don't focus on that one person. I know as people we have a tendency to focus on the negative rather than the hundreds of great experiences we have.
So I'm going to interject just 1 second.
Yes.
This is actually
Please
in the
do.
healthcare field. We are genetically wired to remember bad things.
Yeah.
So you know how when you go walking through the house and you kick the chair and you stub your toe, you don't remember walking past the dog or seeing the whatever. You remember that, and you remember that for weeks. But you don't remember it. And then the reason is because when we were out foraging for food, we wanted to remember that this berry killed somebody, or that this thorn caused a big problem, or that animal kills. We need to remember that. But when things are going cool, we need to enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, it's like a survival instinct, right? Because we remember what happened to us, the bad things that happened to us. That way, our body and our minds are preparing us to not have that happen to us again, so that we can survive and carry through. Yeah, it's so strange that we're not wired to remember all the great. I think you would. I don't know.
Yeah, but
if you have two paths, one of them's covered in thorns, one of them is just a clear, grass field, and you walk through the thorns, you're obviously going to remember that, and then, but it's
I wish we could remember to walk through the field, because then we'd take that choice more often.
Yeah. We're weird, you know what I mean? People are just so strange.
Which is why everybody emphasizes mindfulness and being in the moment. And
Yeah. So psychology has everything to do with everything with us. It's so wild. Jeez.
100%.
I was blown away with that. Anyways, anything else you want to add to this? Did we pretty much cover it, or do you have anything?
We danced around it, covered it, boosted it up. We did the little, the Greek chair dance for the weddings, and did it all.
Greek chair dance for the weddings.
Yeah, I heard that it's not just the Greeks. It's you see it on TV a lot, where they pick the bridegroom in the chairs and they carry them around and sing and dance. And we did that with owning your brand. On and off
That's
the
true.
clock.
On and off the clock, yes. Your brand carries on with you even if you're off the clock. Oh, yeah, going back to what we said before. Yeah. I like how we just start off with one thing and then we're like, we travel around the world, and then we come back here and we're like, oh yeah, remember that one thing we started with? I forgot about that.
There's a title to this podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll shut this one down then. If you are watching this on YouTube, of course, you can find us on all of the streaming services around the world. And if you are listening to this as an audio listener, you can always find us on YouTube. One day we'll have our own address, and it'll be great. It won't be a bunch of numbers and letters and all that.
Soon.
Yeah, soon. Let's see what we got. 14, 15, 16. So I think this is number 17.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, something like that. We're somewhere around there. Anyways,
Cool.
Yeah, I know. We're still working our way to 30. So maybe by the summer? Is that 30? I don't know. That's math. Yeah.
It's too early for math.
We need a math person in here.
Speaking of 30, it's kind of funny that
Yeah.
in my 20s, I couldn't wait to be 30 because I just wanted to stop being, oh, well, you're in your 20s.
Yeah,
So I'm really excited about 30 again.
it's true. We'll probably do it better this time.
Probably.
Yeah. I freaked out when I turned 30. I was like, oh no.
I was excited. Like,
Getting
yes.
old. Really? You were like excited?
I needed to get out of my 20s because people look at you're 29 the same they look at 21.
Yeah.
But when you're in your 30s, they're like, I've arrived. I'm kind of, I'm adulting now.
Yeah, or I'm supposed to anyway.
Yeah. My brand was adulting.
All right. Well, until next time, you want to say bye?
Keep your business healthy.
And keep your... Yeah, that always comes next. Yeah, you stole it from me. Bye.